Are you all ready?
Yeah.
I call this November 20th meeting of the Paducah Planning and Zoning Commission to order, and I ask that you stand with us, please, as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Gina, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Mr. Benberry, Mr. Bradford,
Here.
Mr. Morrison, Ms. Shramke, Mr. Shadle,
Here.
Mr. Wade,
Here.
Chair Cosilius.
Here. Thank you. Mr. Wade, you have the minutes motion.
Yes, I move that the reading of the minutes for the November 6, 2017 meeting be waived and the minutes of said meeting as prepared by the secretary be approved as written.
Second.
Second by Bradford. Are there any corrections, additions? Call the roll, please.
Bradford,
Aye.
Morrison, Shramke, Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Chair Cosilius.
Aye. Mr. Shadle, you have the S&R Investments public hearing, the amendment to a development plan.
Yes. I move the resolution entitled, "The Resolution Constituting the Final Report of the Paducah Planning Commission on Proposed Amendment to a Development Plan Located at 2901, 2905, 2909 Lone Oak Road, and 2825 and 2835 Maryland Street be adopted."
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Bradford. Thank you. This is a public hearing, so we invite anyone who would like to come and speak to the issue to come forward, please, to the microphone. Give us your name, please.
Michael Gardner from Shawnee Surveying. You've seen me many times.
A few, yes.
This is back before you. We have amended this plan because we've annexed 2 more lots into this original annexation that took place back at the first of the year. This includes a lot that it was probably what you'd call southeast along US Highway 45 of the original corner lot, and then one west of that along Maryland. Those 2 were annexed in, I think, in August and September to the city, and what we've done is amended the original development plan to be able to incorporate it, and then once we did that, of course, it changed the construction of what he wanted to do. So he had 1 proposed retail building before. We now have 3 because we've added, as you can see from the original building at the corner, we've added 1 to the south along Lone Oak Road, and then 1 also over to the west along Maryland Street. We will have an open area between the first 2 buildings. There's going to be a storm sewer going through there, so we're allowing that, and hopefully, I think he's got maybe an opportunity for a restaurant to be there and have like some open air seating out there in that breezeway going through there. The last time we had a public hearing, I know the Michael and Kathy Wise, Michael Smith and Kathy Wise property, where it shows the existing building over there is a dentist office, and where you see the entrance, we have incorporated a 12 by 70 foot access easement so that they will always have access to that open entrance. It's been used that way for years and years, and we want to make it official. There's never been anything in writing on that, but it was brought up last time, so we wanted to make sure it was incorporated into this plat and that there'll be a recorded document that'll show that. And that's just to provide them complete ingress and egress on what they've been using for years and years.
Now, I know in our staff report, there were 2 items that were requested to be added to the proposal. That one, the setback from the western portion of Maryland Street shall be 30 feet, and so noted on the plans. And 2, at least 2 additional shade trees shall be provided and maintained on the site. I assume that you have incorporated those into your new plan?
We have. If you'll see on that westernmost lot, you'll see that as you go along Maryland Street, you'll see a 12-foot side yard. That was allowed from the first annexation, and then now with this additional lot, they've requested a 30-foot building setback, and we've added that on the new plat. And in exchange for that, we've also taken away 2 parking places out along Lone Oak Road, and we've added 2 additional trees and some greenery and some more landscape area in that area. We've just abolished 2 parking places to be able to allow that. If you go from the corner of where Maryland intersects Lone Oak Road, you'll see a landscape area there. Then you'll go 5 parking spaces down. We've added those 2 trees in there and a landscape area there as what was requested.
Now, I have a question about the section down here closest to the 12-foot by 70-foot access easement. The section in here, are these 4 trees that are by the centralized mail?
Yes.
Okay.
And we also have some proposed trees, and you'll see a couple of them at least in that open area between the 2 buildings as well. We plan on having some landscape and greenery area in that particular area. All 3 of these buildings are proposed retail. The 2 will front out on Lone Oak Road, and the other will be kind of sidestepped on Maryland Street. The detention pond is in the southwest corner, so that's where all the drainage water, surface water will go to and be held for detention before release. There's storm sewers already in that area, so we'll be using those as well, but we'll be abolishing some of the existing ones because they're pretty old and they need to be updated. Almost all this area was concrete, asphalt, gravel, because it's an old area that's had numerous things. I think last time I mentioned it used to have gas stations there at the corner of Maryland and Lone Oak Road. Had a building, it's still there, existing house. They had a commercial building in there as well.
Did I understand correctly that this plat that we're looking at does not show the 30-foot setback off of Maryland? That'll be on a new plat?
Yes. The original had 12 foot, and we've revised that to 30 foot from the new property line. You'll see as you come from Maryland off of Lone Oak Road, there's a 12-foot side yard. That was already dedicated from a previous plat, but this plat here incorporates the new lot that he purchased.
Mm-hmm.
So that area will have a 30-foot building setback line.
Okay.
Who currently maintains Maryland Street?
County.
Is there any plan to bring that, I guess it would be up to the county to bring that up to city standards, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Not this
The
developer.
city engineering office did not want Maryland Street.
And I seem to remember there's not really any curb and gutter out there, is there?
No.
I didn't think so.
Obviously along Lone Oak Road there is, but not Maryland. It's just county maintained, just asphalt. And it's kind of odd if you go to Banks Grocery, of course, Maryland Street, can't tell the difference between the asphalt on Maryland Street and the asphalt on Banks. They just all blend together. It's just one asphalt surface.
Are there other questions? Is there anyone else who'd like to speak or ask a question? Come right up to the microphone, please.
Can you leave that there, please? I don't have a copy of that. I actually don't think I need it. My name's Michael Smith. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. My question is on the 12 by 70 easement. So I assume we're going to be getting something in the mail?
Yes.
Okay. And the only other question I have would be on this right here, and now you're proposing putting some trees in there.
Right.
Will they be tall trees?
No,
They will not be.
no, because we've got to keep them far enough off the right of way to provide good access, you know, where you can see good
Okay.
sight visibility.
Okay, well, the only comment I'd like to make is, in the past, in the building that's there now, they have a sign out in front of there, which
Right.
made it, and the sign is gone now. Whoever took it down, I really appreciate it. But it makes it extremely difficult to get out on a road that supposedly is a 35 mile an hour, and we all know it's not. So if these are kept low, it makes it easier for people pulling out.
Right.
So I would just request y'all consider
Sure.
that. Now, I don't know, maybe you make it sound like the trees are something you're being directed to do by,
Well, those were over here,
okay.
not in here. Actually, the mail people, the post office is generated, they want to have one general area where we put
Mhm.
a central location for mailboxes there. And that's where that will be, but it's going to be far enough off the road where it won't affect your visibility when you leave or come in.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're well aware of where that sign was, and it did block.
It was very difficult to get in and
Yeah.
out.
Correct. And that's a busy road.
That's the only questions I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Take into consideration. We've got to keep it low there.
Are there other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Bradford,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Chair Grisillis.
Aye. Mr. Shadle, you also have the S&R Investments Waiver of Subdivision.
Yes, I do.
Please.
I move that this commission receive and file the application of S&R Investments LLC for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 2901, 2905, 2909 Lone Oak Road, and 2825, 2835 Maryland Street. I further move that a requested approval be given in compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
Second by Bradford.
Same piece of property, just abolishing the new lot lines in between to make it all one lot. This at one time was numerous lots, but before, we have already taken one waiver before the commission several months ago and got the interior property lines abolished in. Now we're abolishing two more, where the new lots have been annexed into the city, making it one tract.
And this plat will go to record, and it will show the dedication of the access easement, the 12 by 70 access easement of record, so it's a record. So,
Are there any other questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Bradford,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Chair Casillas.
Aye. Mr. Bradford, you have JLP Enterprises waiver of subdivision.
I do. I move that this commission receive and file the application of JPL Enterprises, Inc. for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 3315 Pines Road and 3416 Minnick Avenue. I further move that the requested approval be given in compliance with all other applicable provisions of the Paducah subdivision ordinance be waived.
Second.
Second by Shader.
Oddly enough, this is a KRS 100 violation. It's a huge tract, but on the other side of Royal Circle, there's a housing complex there that was cut out several years ago and improved, and that, when it did, it left this tract where it was, and it never had got a clear title to it. The deed was messed up, had some incorrect calls. So what we are doing is not only satisfying a KRS 100 violation, but we're correcting the line that you see that runs along Royal Circle. That line was previously established by Plat Section G, page 569, which is a fairly old plat. The deed that they were using at the auction was really incorrect. It even ended up being in Royal Circle, which is a private road. It's not a city street. It is as you go northeast into that River Oak subdivision, but not along our property. But we're correcting a few things. There's also what we added last Friday. The city engineering office found by the GIS, a storm sewer that crosses his property, and we've shown that on there as well. That was added Friday. But really, this piece was auctioned off a couple months ago, and what we're doing is just trying to clean it up so it matches what was already recorded, to get a clear title and a separate deed to this property. We wanted to show the sanitary sewer easement, which has been added since then. That belongs to JSA, and then also the storm sewer easement. It is possibly developable because it's got a Pines Road on one side and then this private road on the other, and it has Rucker Avenue, which dead ends into it. So, I mean, it's possible somebody could develop it. I don't know who bought it, but it was sold at auction. But it's possible it could have a little bit of future development.
Look like the two entrances, two egresses have been there for some time.
That's correct, right? When they built that road, they did allow for two entrances in there to do something with it.
Well, two entrances as well as Rucker Avenue and
Right.
Pines Road for that matter.
Yeah. Pines Road would be difficult because that's real close to the railroad tracks, but
Yeah.
the others are pretty good accesses.
The ownership certificate shows Robert Alexander as the owner. I know he did the auction, but,
He did the auction, right.
so he's,
Where you see that? Under what?
a certificate of ownership, just to the bottom left of your project location.
Oh, you mean where he signed? He signed as the agent.
Agent, yeah.
This is part of Lane Peck's estate.
Correct.
I know. Yeah,
It is,
I know.
And actually, it's still in that estate until this gets approved and recorded and a new deed made.
Because will the sale not be completed until this
Right,
has
it can't
been
be, right.
properly recorded?
Right. It's kind of cut in half because it's got a big drainage ditch that runs the sewer. So as you see, the sanitary sewer manholes and the easements run along where the ditch is, because they're in the low area part of it. So it's kind of separated on one side by the ditch from the other side where Royal Circle is. So they'd have to do some engineering, either have a bridge or something, because it's pretty good sized creek through there. I don't think they'd want to connect them. They'd have to build a bridge there if they did.
Mike, you might want to get Robert to sign, just put agent after his name.
Okay.
Have Dana put agent in the circle
Okay.
notary.
Sure.
And that way, it's kind of all above.
Okay. He has agent on mine, but he just did that again today, so,
Well, maybe, so you've got
uh-huh.
the original, okay.
Right,
He's
we had to
in
add,
there.
since the city engineers wanted to show that sanitary sewer, or the storm sewer,
Uh-huh.
when we added it, we had to bring him back and get him to sign it again.
So that's okay then?
He has agent beside it now.
Good.
I'll
Okay.
show it to you.
That's okay.
There is no easement for the storm sewer, but they wanted to show it because, I mean, it's actually an encroachment on the property from the other side where the development is.
Any other questions, comments?
Before we vote on this, I should probably point out, I wasn't aware when we first put this on that this was part of J. Lane Peck's estate. I've been involved with that in a professional capacity, so I don't know if that creates a conflict where I shouldn't vote on this.
If y'all are representing the estate, yeah, you probably shouldn't.
Which means we don't have a quorum.
We don't have a quorum.
So we
Don't
have
have
a
one for this.
move to table.
Okay.
We'll have to.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Okay.
And that would be to the next meeting date.
The first Monday in December.
Okay.
We have a motion on the floor to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Shadle. We would be voting to table the motion to our next meeting, which is a date certain, and that would be December 4th. Just so you know what we're voting to table the motion. Call the roll, please.
Bradford,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Chair Casillas.
Aye. Did we get a second on that? We did get a second on that,
We
didn't
did.
we? Yes, I
Shadle.
thought, John. Okay, thank you. Just wanted to make sure before we moved on. Okay, Mr. Wade, you have the Brooks and Burnett properties.
I move that this commission receive and file the application of Brooks and Burnett Properties LLC for the proposed easement abolishment located at 104 and 108 Pheasant Run. I further move that the request approval be given.
Second.
Second by Shadle.
This is in section 3 of the Pine subdivision. It borders I-24 before you get to the mall area and US Highway 60. When they did this part of it, they dedicated a 25-foot backyard line away from I-24. And then they also dedicated a 16-foot easement on the back. And with a 40-foot building setback on the front, it didn't allow very much room to be able to build on these lots. So there's never been any utilities put back here. They're all on the front. Now, on yours, you don't see the signatures, but we have all the signatures where all the utility companies have signed off on it. They have no problem with it closing it whatsoever. They have no utilities in it. need it. They have everything out front along the right-of-way. There's a 15-foot public utility easement for them out there, and that's where they're at. All the utilities are inside that serve this property. And the owner and developer wants to build some townhomes on this, and obviously he just didn't have enough room to do it. He's been building them all the way along Pheasant Run in the last year or two, and this is the last two lots that he has, and when he got to it, he realized he didn't have enough room.
And he's going to leave these as Lot 8A and 8B, correct?
Yes.
Who is the owner?
Marcus Burnett.
Okay, well, I'm going to read the signatures.
Yeah, Brooks and Burnett.
Well,
Well, it's two.
but it was an LLC, so
Yeah, it's Brooks and Burnett Properties, but Marcus Burnett is the actual
is who
home builder.
executed, okay.
Yeah, Mary Sue Patch, so he's it.
Yeah, I see his writing now. It's kind of hard to read that.
I thought maybe he was a doctor.
Are there other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Bradford,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Wade,
Aye.
Chair Casilius.
Aye. If there is no other business to come before the commission tonight, we stand adjourned.